Hi creators, I'm going to attempt to do another swipe. I've lightened up colors that match that tablecloth in my previous swipe. So I brightened up the orange. It was a little bit more rusty. I've brightened it up. I've brightened up the yellow. And I like those colors. That was the green I used previously, and then I lightened it up to that. And then I've also lightened up the blue, and I've kept that darker blue the same. I've lightened up the brown. That's the previous color. And so here is the first swipe that I did that I already have up. You can watch the video if you want. And now what I've decided to do is to make the paints a little bit thinner, not as thick. So I'm going to make the lines thinner, not the actual paint itself. That'll be the same consistency. But I'm going to make the lines thinner, and I'm going to mix it up a bit. And I'm going to put it on fast forward right now so you can watch it a little bit quicker. I always save my top swiping color for the last step, so now that's what I'm going to do is add that brown color on to the very top before I swipe. And that color actually has so many different colors in it. It has rose gold, regular gold, yellow gold, and a bronze gold in there. And a little bit of the color that I used previously in the first swipe. Now I notice that the paint is pulling. You can see that it's coming forward. So I'm thinking it's not balanced. And so I take some efforts to keep it balanced before I swipe. And of course I have to be really careful because I've got this other canvas next to it drying. And I'm going to wait until this wipe completely dries before I film what I'm going to do with the black canvas. But yeah, sometimes a little bit of a fiasco. I don't have a lot of room on the table, as you can see, and I've cut out the part where I've just had to add some paper towels and get my plastic out to make sure that the bottom area, where I'm standing doesn't just get full of paint. So I'm just going to give it a little torch before I swipe. And I do want to say that all the colors except for the gold, the swiping color, have got silicone in them so that I can get the cells when I make the swipe. So you want to make sure you have silicone or you're using Australian Floetrol or something like that to get your cells to develop. That's the easiest way to do it, in my opinion. And of course, I've got to get the feel right because usually when I swipe, I'm standing behind the painting. So I just reach forward. But here I'm going to go from an angle, which I couldn't really stand behind this painting anyway because it's just too long. So here we go. This is my favorite part. I'm loving the color and the cells. The colors are really coming through well. So I'm very happy that I decided to do the gold for the swipe instead of the black like I did on the first one. Okay, now as you see, as I get ready to go, I don't quite catch all the paint. So when you swipe, kind of go nice and slow, and if you don't catch it, you can always lift up and start over. So I just wanted to mention that. And then you see I have a line that's creating there where I'm not getting that in the swipe. I have a lot of paint on my canvas, so I will be correcting that at the end. So I decided to go and get some mailers. I just use my those mailers that you get in the mail that junk mail. And I'm using that instead of the tool that I have because this is thinner. Because I don't want to do a big swipe with that over something that I've already swiped. And then I'm going to do it here on the very edge because I don't have a lot left on the edge either. So that's my recommendation. If whatever you're using, like the tool I was using, and that's a disadvantage of using that kind of tool because you may not be able to get the entire swipe, all at once. You can use a sheet of plastic, like a flimsy plastic. They do, sometimes they'll come when you buy a package of canvases. There'll be a big plastic liner in the front to protect the canvas that's showing or that's, out in the open. So what you can do is save that and then you can cut it down um, depending upon, what the size was, of course. And you can just use one big sheet all at one time. Now, there is some paints there on the side that didn't really get swiped, and I'm considering trying to swipe it, but I think I changed my mind. I think I tried a little bit, but doesn't really work out. So we're just going to leave that, and that's something that I can correct later, or even as everything settles and is in the drying process, it can correct. So if your edges are white, you can always go in with a paintbrush and your different colors of paint and touch it up. So there's no point in ruining a perfectly good swipe just because you missed a little bit on the edge. Now, this part that I'm doing here, this is just a personal preference. Yeah, it's not something that you have to do. And as you do these, you'll get a feel for what it is that you like, And you can leave the top just the way that it is. People will embellish the top, all kinds of stuff you can do. This is just what I'm going to do for this particular painting. So I'm looking at the differences between the sides. One on the side closest to the bottom, I love how those cells turned out. And I like the cells on the other side, but I've never really done a swipe where there's such a difference in how the cells are forming. So it's very interesting. Um, my fiasco with the balance of the canvas did end up affecting how it turned out, but it still looks really cool. So you'll see it in the final pictures, and I will add those at the end. I love the blues here next to the red, the dark blue and the light blue. I just think that looks really, really pretty. Okay, let's see how it looks dry.